Jungkook is rushed to the hospital after a shocking breakdown. Rumors blame JIMIN. But what Taehyung does outside the ER? No one expected the heartbreak that followed. Move, he's not breathing. The hospital doors slammed open as Jungkook's unconscious body was wheeled in, pale, soaked in cold sweat, and lifeless. The stretcher's wheels screeched against the linoleum floor, echoing like a siren in Taehyung's ears as he ran behind the gurney. One trembling hand clutching Jungkook's discarded phone, the other gripping his own chest, as if trying to keep his heart from exploding. It was 2:37 a.m. when everything spiraled. Sirens wailed in the distance, but to JIMIN, standing frozen on the sidewalk under the harsh glow of the ER floodlights, everything was eerily silent. His hands were still stained with the coffee he'd dropped, his mind replaying Jungkook's last words over and over again. "You said you'd never lie to me." That sentence, brittle, cracked, defeated, was the last thing Jungkook whispered before collapsing at the dorm's threshold. JIMIN didn't even remember dialing 911. His legs had buckled the second Jungkook hit the floor. The rest was a blur, blood pressure plummeting, oxygen levels unstable. Then the paramedics arrived. And now, Taehyung was gone, disappeared into the ER like smoke, and the door had shut behind him. Paparazzi were already circling like vultures, cameras flashing in the distance. Rumors were flying through the internet like wildfire. Jungkook hospitalized, JIMIN to blame? Tension in BTS? Taehyung seen in tears. Secret fight before collapse? None of them knew the truth. Not the full truth, but JIMIN did, and that was worse. Taehyung sat outside the ER in silence. He didn't speak, didn't blink. The automatic glass doors behind him whooshed open and shut as nurses passed, but he didn't move. In his lap, Jungkook's phone vibrated, dozens of missed calls, unread messages, screen cracked in the corner. His thumb hovered over a notification. A message from JIMIN. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." Taehyung's jaw clenched. The veins in his neck pulsed with unspeakable rage and sorrow. He couldn't decide which feeling hurt more. He remembered the way Jungkook looked just an hour ago, eyes red, chest heaving, hands shaking like leaves in a storm. "He trusted you," Taehyung whispered, staring at the message. "He trusted you more than anyone." The sliding doors opened again. A nurse stepped out. "Family only," she said gently. "He's stable, but unconscious." Taehyung nodded, but he didn't move. He was family. They all were. But right now, he didn't feel like it. JIMIN was still standing outside the perimeter of flashing lights and whispers. Hidden behind a black hoodie, cap pulled low, mask trembling with every breath. But everyone still recognized him. Army fans nearby didn't scream. They watched, some recorded, some cried. And others stared in judgment. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run in and see Jungkook, to explain everything, that the fight wasn't supposed to end like that he never meant to keep the messages hidden, that what he did was out of fear, not betrayal. But his feet felt bolted to the concrete. Flashback to 3 hours ago. The studio. The argument. Jungkook had found the messages, the ones JIMIN swore he deleted. The ones from the anonymous contact hinting that JIMIN had been hiding something about the company's new contract terms. About Hybe. About trust. Jungkook's hands trembled as he read them. JIMIN's voice cracked as he tried to explain. Then a bottle was thrown. Not at anyone, but against the wall. Glass shattered. So did their years of unspoken understanding. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jungkook asked, his voice hoarse. "You said we were in this together. I was trying to protect you. You don't get to decide that." Then silence. Then collapse. Back in the present, inside the ER, Jungkook lay motionless, machines beeping steadily beside him, electrodes on his chest, an oxygen mask on his face. Doctors whispered things Taehyung barely heard. Acute stress reaction, dangerously low cortisol, possible adrenal fatigue, exhaustion bordering collapse. They mentioned the term emotional shock. Taehyung wanted to scream. Instead, he stood, walked out of the ER, past the fans, past the cameras, past JIMIN. JIMIN turned as Taehyung passed him. Don't," Taehyung said. His voice didn't shake, but his hands did. "Don't say a word unless it's to him." JIMIN's heart cracked in half. Taehyung kept walking until he reached the parking lot. He stopped near the edge, where the wind was strongest, and the world was quiet again. And then, finally, his shoulders shook. No cameras, no fans, just him, the cold air, and the truth that he couldn't protect Jungkook this time. JIMIN watched from afar, every second tearing at him. He hadn't cried. Not yet. Not until he saw Taehyung fall to his knees in the dark, face buried in his hands. That was the moment Jimin realized it wasn't just Jungkook who had collapsed tonight. It was all of them. The morning after the collapse did not bring peace. Instead, it brought headlines. Dozens of them, blazing across every platform from Twitter to television. BTS in crisis? Is Jimin responsible for Jungkook's breakdown? Taehyung seen breaking down outside hospital. There was no time to breathe, no space to grieve privately. The dorm was silent, not with calm, but with tension choking, dense, and suffocating. Jimin sat alone in the kitchen. The sunlight crept in through the blinds, slicing the room into cold lines of light and shadow. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. He hadn't moved. He hadn't spoken since Taehyung's words cut through him like a blade outside the ER. Don't say a word unless it's to him. That sentence clung to his chest like an open wound. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the slam of the front door. Namjoon stormed in. You lied to all of us. Jimin didn't even look up. Namjoon, he started. But Namjoon raised a hand. Sharp. Commanding. Don't, he growled. Do not defend yourself right now. I wasn't trying to. Then what were you doing? Because to me, it looks like you were playing both sides. You kept things from us. You kept things from him. You knew what those messages meant, Jimin. They weren't supposed to get that far. I thought I could handle it. Handle what? Namjoon's voice echoed through the apartment. The stress? The manipulation from the label? The weight of all our futures? You let Jungkook carry that alone because you thought you knew better? Jimin stood now, the chair scraping violently against the tile. I was scared, okay? I was scared they'd come for him first. That if he found out what was in those messages about Hybe pressuring the contract renegotiations through him, he'd break. And look where we are now. Namjoon's jaw locked. His nostrils flared, but he said nothing. I didn't mean for any of this to happen, Jimin said again, softer this time, voice cracking. I thought if I just waited, if I could make sense of it first. But you didn't tell us, Namjoon snapped. You didn't tell me. That's not fear, Jimin. That's betrayal. Before Jimin could respond, the sound of keys jangled. Jin walked in slowly, face pale, eyes bloodshot. Stop, Jin said hoarsely. Both of you. Namjoon looked like he was about to say something else, but he stepped back, breathing hard. Jin dropped his bag by the door, walked straight to the sink, and ran his hands under the water for a full minute before speaking again. He's awake. Jimin's heart slammed into his ribs. Jungkook's awake? Jin nodded. Briefly, he asked for Taehyung. The silence that followed was unbearable. Not Jimin. Not Namjoon. Not Yoongi. Taehyung. The only one who had looked him in the eye and said nothing, because the silence said it all. He wouldn't talk much, Jin continued. Doctors say he's physically stable now, but emotionally, they're recommending a psychological evaluation. They said the trauma from stress accumulation didn't just hit him overnight. It's been building for months. Jimin's breath hitched. He knew. He had seen it. The small signs, the empty stares, the fake smiles. The times Jungkook would isolate himself for hours in the practice room or disappear for midnight drives without explanation. He had known, and he had said nothing. I want to see him, Jimin whispered. Namjoon scoffed bitterly. After what happened, after what people are saying, the media's already convinced you're the reason he collapsed. And you think that's the truth too? I think, Namjoon said carefully, that we don't know the whole truth, and until we do, maybe stay away. Before anyone could speak further, the door opened again. This time, it was Taehyung. He was still wearing the same clothes from the night before. Wrinkled, dirt-stained at the knees. His eyes were swollen from crying, but there was no emotion in his face now. Just ice, controlled, measured. Everyone turned toward him. How is he? Jimin asked, voice barely audible. Taehyung looked at him, not through him at him. That was worse. He's tired, Taehyung said coldly. He asked me if it was true. About you, about the messages. The room froze. What did you say? Jimin whispered. I told him to rest. That's not an answer. He doesn't need an answer, Taehyung snapped, stepping forward. What he needs is peace, and you're not part of that right now. Jimin staggered back like he'd been slapped. Taehyung's voice cracked now, emotion leaking through despite himself. Do you know what it was like holding him in the ambulance? Watching him shake like he was dying? And all he could say was your name, like a prayer, like a curse. I know I messed up, You didn't just mess up, Taehyung barked. You broke him. Jin stood between them now, hands raised. Enough, please. Taehyung backed away, trembling. He trusted you more than any of us, even me. And you let him burn alone. I didn't mean to. You did. Taehyung's voice cracked now. You just didn't stop it. With that, he left. The door didn't slam, but the silence it left behind was louder than any scream. That night, JIMIN walked to the hospital alone. He wore no mask, no hoodie. He didn't care anymore. If the world wanted to see him broken, vulnerable, full of shame, let them. Let the world see the truth he'd hidden even from himself. When he reached Jungkook's room, the nurse hesitated. He's asleep. I won't wake him, JIMIN whispered. She let him in. The room was dim, save for the soft glow of the heart monitor. Jungkook lay still, pale, peaceful. But JIMIN knew it was a fragile peace, the kind built on exhaustion, not healing. He sat beside the bed and spoke softly. I read every word you wrote to me, every draft you never sent. I know now. I know how much I hurt you. No response. Just the steady beep. Jungkook's chest rose and fell slowly beneath the thin blanket. I should have told you. I should have warned you about the messages, the pressure from Hybe, about the deadlines they were forcing. But I wanted to protect you, not because I thought you were weak, but because I couldn't stand the thought of losing you. And now I almost did. JIMIN took Jungkook's hand gently. I don't care if you never forgive me. I just want you to come back. There was no movement, but just before JIMIN stood to leave, he felt the faintest pressure on his fingers. Barely there. Jungkook's hand had moved. He turned, eyes wide. Jungkook's lips parted ever so slightly. His voice was a ghost. You lied. JIMIN's soul shattered in that moment. He knelt beside the bed, tears finally falling. I did. A long pause. Then one more whisper. Don't do it again. JIMIN choked on a sob. I won't. Outside the room, Taehyung watched through the window. His eyes narrowed, unreadable. He didn't enter. He turned and walked down the hallway alone, hands shoved deep in his pockets. For now, Jungkook was still breathing. And for now, that was enough. The next 72 hours were a whirlwind of tight security, deafening silence, and a haunting, unspoken divide that stretched like a canyon through the group. What once was a family, forged in the fire of shared dreams and sleepless nights, had splintered into fragile, warring pieces. Yoongi was the first to break that silence. Either we talk, he said, slamming a bottle of water on the table, or we fall apart. It was the first time in days all six were in the same room. Jungkook, still recovering in the hospital under a media blackout, was the ghost hovering between every word, every stare, every unfinished sentence. The dorm's living room felt like a courtroom now, and JIMIN stood trial without being told. I've read the documents, Yoongi continued, throwing a folder onto the table. The ones Hybe tried to bury. The messages Jungkook found were real. There's a clause in the revised contract draft that gives executive creative control to them, but only if Jungkook signs it first. They were targeting him to manipulate the rest of us. JIMIN closed his eyes. I tried to stop it, I swear. You tried? Taehyung snapped. Or you just waited and prayed it would go away? I thought if I stayed quiet. Your silence nearly killed him. Hobie, who had stayed mostly quiet until now, finally spoke up. We're all hurting, he said, but yelling won't fix anything. Taehyung stood up, shoulders shaking. I watched him hyperventilate in my arms. I heard him say he didn't want to wake up. Don't tell me not to yell. Jin stepped forward, placing a firm hand on Taehyung's arm. No, Taehyung said, pulling away. He knew what the label was doing. He saw the trap, and instead of pulling Jungkook out, he let him fall. JIMIN's voice rose then, raw and cracked. Because if I had exposed them, they would have destroyed my contract. I would have been blacklisted. And I couldn't risk being erased. I didn't want to be the weak link that cost all of us our future. And yet, Namjoon said coldly, your silence almost cost us Jungkook. The words hung heavy in the air. Yoongi exhaled slowly. There's more. Everyone turned toward him. There's surveillance footage from inside the company's management office. Someone leaked the contracts to JIMIN anonymously. But guess what? That leak was a trap. They wanted to see which one of us would break first. Why me? JIMIN asked, barely above a whisper. Because you're emotional, Taehyung answered, bitter. Because you carry everything alone until it crushes you. Hobie stepped in again, firmer this time. Enough. But no one stopped. JIMIN's mask cracked. I begged the company to wait. I pleaded with them not to make Jungkook sign. But they threatened my family, Tae. They said my father's business would be audited, my brother's military application delayed, my name dragged through every scandal. What was I supposed to do? Taehyung paused, his mouth opened slightly. He hadn't known. Namjoon's fists unclenched. Yoongi's head dropped slightly. Jin sat down, finally understanding the weight Jimin had tried and failed to carry alone. Why didn't you tell us? Hobi asked softly. Jimin laughed bitterly. Because this group isn't supposed to have cracks. We're the golden boys. The perfect brotherhood. You think Hybe would let anyone see that one of us was falling apart? Taehyung's face twisted, caught between anger and guilt. So you let him take the hit instead? I thought I could fix it before it got to him. You were wrong. I know. The silence after that was different. It wasn't just hurt, it was grief. Grief for trust lost. Grief for a brotherhood corrupted by fear, pressure, and silence. Then Jin's phone buzzed. He picked it up, frowned, and said, "It's the hospital." Everyone froze. They arrived 10 minutes later, breathless, only to find a swarm of reporters outside the emergency exit. Somehow, news had leaked. The story was out. Jungkook's collapse linked to internal betrayal. BTS member involved in contract scandal. It was brutal, blunt, ruthless. Inside, Jungkook was awake. Barely. But awake. He looked thinner, shadows under his eyes darker than the fluorescent lights above. His voice was hoarse, eyes glassy, but they still held a flicker of awareness. The first person he looked at was Taehyung. Taehyung stepped forward, trying not to cry. "Hey, you scared the hell out of me." Jungkook gave a faint smile. "Where is he?" No one answered. Then Jimin stepped in. Jungkook's eyes found him. The warmth disappeared. His face went blank. Jimin's knees almost buckled. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Jungkook said nothing. "I know I failed you. I know you don't want to see me. But please let me say this." Everyone else quietly stepped back, giving them space they weren't sure Jimin had earned. "I let fear control me. I chose silence. I justified it by telling myself I was protecting you. But I wasn't. I was protecting myself, and I'll never forgive myself for that." Jungkook's eyes brimmed, but no tears fell. "I wanted to believe we were unbreakable," Jimin continued. "But I broke the moment I doubted your strength. That wasn't love. That was cowardice." For a long, long moment, Jungkook just stared. Then he turned his head away. That hurt more than anything. But he whispered something. "Don't come back." Taehyung flinched. Jimin blinked. "What?" "I need to heal, and I can't do it with you around." A knife to the chest would have hurt less. Jimin nodded, slowly, tears finally falling freely. "Okay." He stepped back and walked out. Nobody followed. Outside the room, he collapsed against the wall, sobbing silently into his fists. Cameras still flashing in the hallway, security yelling, chaos swirling like a storm. But Jimin was gone now. Gone from the picture, from the trust, from the bond they all swore would never break. Back in the hospital room, Taehyung sat beside Jungkook. "You meant it?" he asked softly. Jungkook nodded. "I can't trust him. Not yet." Taehyung squeezed his hand. "Then we start from here." Jungkook exhaled, eyes closing. And so they sat broken pieces trying to hold what was left of something that once felt indestructible. But nothing was indestructible anymore. Not even them. The rain came down hard over Seoul that night. Not a gentle drizzle, but a brutal, soaking storm that turned sidewalks into rivers and glass windows into mirrors of chaos. Inside the practice studio, the air was tense, stale with the residue of secrets and suppressed rage. The space that once held memories of laughter, late-night rehearsals, and dreams now felt like a war zone, where the walls had absorbed every scream and betrayal. Jimin sat in the corner of the room, head down, soaked from the walk, refusing the towel Hobi silently offered him. "You need to dry off," Hobi said gently. "I'm fine," Jimin mumbled. "You'll get sick." I said I'm fine. Namjoon leaned against the far wall, arms crossed, watching. The tension in his jaw gave away everything he wasn't saying. His silence was sharper than any accusation. Taehyung entered moments later, umbrella still dripping. He didn't even glance at Jimin. He walked straight to the speaker system and turned it off, silencing the faint instrumental that had been looping for the past hour. "We need to talk," Taehyung said. His voice was low, authoritative, and final. "We've been talking," Namjoon said. "Talking and blaming and burning each other alive. Then let's stop pretending this is about contracts. Taehyung snapped. It's not. Jin stood, folding his arms. Then what is this about? Taehyung looked directly at Jimin. It's about trust. Jimin's eyes lifted slowly, his face expressionless. You think I don't know that? No. I think you forgot it the moment you chose self-preservation over honesty. I was protecting the team. No, you were protecting yourself. Taehyung shot back. Let's stop sugarcoating it. Yoongi, who had been seated with one leg crossed over the other, finally spoke. Enough with the circles. We've said everything 1,000 times. What's the solution? No one answered. Taehyung turned away from Jimin and looked at the others. We go to Hybe. What? Jin blinked. And do what? We confront them, Taehyung said. Together. With the documents. With the recordings. With everything. Jimin was too scared to show us. Namjoon's brow furrowed. You want war? I want clarity. I want them to know we're not pawns. And I want Jungkook to see that we stand together, no matter what nearly broke us. Yoongi's tone was skeptical. And if they retaliate, then they expose themselves. Namjoon paced, clearly calculating everything: reputational risk, legal blowback, headlines, army reaction, career fallout. Jimin finally stood. If we do this, I lead the charge. All heads turned to him. No, Taehyung said instantly. Yes, Jimin said, stepping closer. This started with me. Let it end with me. Taehyung's eyes blazed. You think marching into the fire redeems you? No, Jimin whispered. But maybe it redeems what's left of us. The room fell into a stunned silence. Jin looked between them. When? Tonight, Taehyung said. They won't expect it. The Hybe building loomed in the darkness, a monolith of metal, glass, and polished deception. Security at the front desk stiffened as 6 BTS members entered, faces grim, soaked from the storm. We have an appointment, Namjoon lied with chilling calm. The receptionist blinked. I wasn't informed. You are now, Yoongi said, holding up his badge and walking straight through. They moved like a unit, but the cracks were visible. Taehyung never stood too close to Jimin. Jimin never looked Jungkook's name etched on the platinum plaques along the hallway walls. Each step echoed with memories and mistrust. Inside the conference room, the executives were caught off guard. What is the meaning of this? One of them asked, rising. You tell us, Taehyung said, tossing a printed contract on the table. And that, Yoongi added, pushing a flash drive into the laptop port, is your surveillance audio. The one where you admitted baiting Jimin with the fake leak. Jimin stood back, eyes hollow. Namjoon stepped forward. We're not here for explanations. We're here to tell you this ends now. Another executive, clearly the more composed one, leaned forward. You're making a very dangerous move. No, Taehyung said, smiling grimly. You did, when you decided to weaponize trust. The room erupted. Legal threats were hurled. Words like breach, defamation, contractual violation flew like daggers. But BTS stood their ground. This wasn't rebellion. This was reclamation. Then Jimin spoke. You said I was the easiest to isolate, the most emotionally manipulatable. You were right, but I'm also the one who remembers every name of every army who waited 8 hours in the cold just to wave at us. I'm the one who held Jungkook when he had his first panic attack on tour in Chicago. I'm the one who cried backstage when Yoongi's shoulder injury almost cost him his spot. You underestimated what I'd do to protect this family. You won't do it again. The room was silent. You think this is a scandal? Jimin added. Wait until the world hears your silence. Later that night, they returned to the dorm in silence. Taehyung didn't speak to Jimin, not until they were alone in the kitchen. You took a risk back there, Taehyung said. Jimin didn't look up from his tea. You still hate me? Taehyung sat across from him. I'm still angry, but I don't hate you. That's something, I guess. There was a long pause. He asked for you, Taehyung said. Jimin's head shot up. Jungkook? Taehyung nodded. Tonight, at the hospital, he asked if you came back. What did you say? I told him, not yet. Jimin stood slowly, as if his legs weren't sure how to move anymore. Then I need to go. Wait, Taehyung said, reaching for his arm. He needs time. You both do. Jimin sat back down. His hands trembled. Do you think he'll ever forgive me? I don't know, Taehyung said, but I know he still loves you. Jimin closed his eyes. Outside, the rain finally stopped. Inside, the damage remained. But maybe, just maybe, the healing had begun. The door creaked open softly. A cold draft from the hospital hallway swept into the dimly lit room. Jungkook was awake, eyes half-lidded, staring blankly at the ceiling as if trying to remember whether he was alive or still inside a slow-moving nightmare. Tubes ran into his veins. Machines clicked quietly around him. The faint antiseptic scent mixed with something more bitter, regret. He heard the shuffle of footsteps, and then a voice low, deep, familiar. "You really know how to scare people, huh?" Jungkook blinked. Yoongi stepped into view, hands in his pockets. He looked exhausted. His hoodie hung low over his face, dark circles blooming beneath his eyes. "I've been here since 4 a.m. The nurses tried to kick me out twice." Jungkook's lips twitched into a weak smile. "You win." Yoongi pulled a chair close. "It's not a contest. You collapsing isn't exactly a flex." They sat in silence for a while, interrupted only by the slow, rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor. Then Yoongi spoke again, softer this time. "I listened to the audio, the one Taehyung found. I know about the pressure, about what they tried to make Jimin hide." Jungkook turned his face away. "I don't want to talk about him." "You don't have to," Yoongi said. "But I will." Jungkook sighed heavily. He was scared, not just for himself, but for you, for us. "You know how he gets when he thinks he's the only one who can fix something." "He lied," Jungkook said, voice brittle. "He lied to me when I asked if something was wrong. I begged him to trust me." Yoongi leaned forward. He thought if he carried the burden, you wouldn't have to. "It's twisted, but it's not malicious." Jungkook closed his eyes. "I needed him. I know." Yoongi stood, squeezing Jungkook's shoulder. "Rest. No one's asking you to forgive him. Just remember who he is beneath the mistake." When Yoongi left, Jungkook stared at the ceiling for a long time. His body ached in places he hadn't known could hurt. His chest felt tight, but not physically. It was something deeper, something he couldn't name. Meanwhile, at the dorm, Jimin was pacing. Taehyung sat on the couch, watching him, arms folded, jaw clenched. "You're going to wear a hole in the floor." "I can't sit still," Jimin muttered. "What if he's worse today? What if he thinks I haven't tried hard enough? What if he—" "Stop." Jimin paused. "You're spiraling again," Taehyung said. "This isn't about what he thinks anymore. It's about what you do next." "I don't know what that is." "Then figure it out. Fast." Jimin sat down, burying his face in his hands. "I was supposed to protect him." "You still can," Taehyung replied. "But it starts with honesty." That evening, an emergency team meeting was called. All 6 gathered in the practice room again. This time, the energy was different, more focused, more deadly. Namjoon stood at the front, holding a printed email. "They're pushing the tour dates forward," he announced. "Without Jungkook." Everyone froze. "What?" Jin stood up. "He's not ready. He's barely out of ICU." They're framing it as a recovery gap strategy. They want us to promote without him for the next 6 weeks. "Keep the hype alive. Brand resilience," they called it. "That's disgusting," Hobie snapped. Taehyung looked at Jimin. "Do you see it now?" Jimin's voice was hollow. "They're already moving past him." "No," Namjoon said. "Not if we stop it." Yoongi slammed his fist onto the table. "We pull out, all of us." "They'll sue," Jin warned. "Breach of contract." Namjoon looked at the others. "Then let them." Taehyung spoke slowly. "Either we stay silent and play the good puppets, or we take the risk together." "I'm in," Hobie said. Yoongi nodded. "Me too," Jin exhaled. "If we don't fight for him, we lose who we are." Namjoon looked at Jimin. He met their eyes. "Let's burn it down." That night, the world changed. They went live. Not through the company, not through press releases or filtered channels. On their own, Instagram, YouTube, Weverse. One by one, they posted messages. Cryptic, poetic, raw. Namjoon posted, "Family is not a contract, it's a choice." Yoongi, "Silence is not the answer when truth is bleeding." Taehyung posted a black screen with only 3 words. "He is enough." Then came Jimin. His live stream started without warning. The internet exploded. His face appeared on screen, pale, eyes red, voice trembling. "I wasn't going to do this," he said. "But I owe him, and all of you, the truth." More than 10 million viewers tuned in within 10 minutes. "I made a mistake," Jimin said. "I thought I could shield him from what was happening behind closed doors. But the truth is, I was scared, not just of the company, of failing him, of being the reason he fell." He took a long, shuddering breath. They told me he was their target, that if I didn't play along, they'd isolate him. They'd bury him. I believed them, and in trying to protect him, I became part of the thing I feared most. The comment section was a flood of hearts, tears, anger, support, betrayal. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Jimin whispered. I'm asking for truth to matter again. He ended the stream. The aftermath was instant. Number Protect Jungkook trended worldwide. Number We Trust Jimin followed. But nothing compared to what happened at 2:03 a.m. Jungkook posted his first words since the collapse. A photo, a Polaroid, of the 6 of them, from a year ago. The caption read, "Still family, just bruised." The internet broke. And somewhere deep in the hospital, Jungkook closed his eyes. He wasn't okay, but he wasn't alone anymore. Jungkook stared at the glow of his phone screen in the sterile silence of his hospital room. The photo he'd posted just an hour ago was already the most viral thing on the internet. Mentions were flooding in from every corner of the world, army crying, defending, accusing, forgiving. But he wasn't reading them for the fame. He was reading them because he needed to feel something again. He needed to remember who he was outside of this pain. The knock came gently. He didn't look up. "Come in." The door opened slowly, and Namjoon stepped inside, umbrella dripping rainwater onto the floor. "You never liked silence," Jungkook said without looking at him. Namjoon smiled softly. "And you always made too much noise." That pulled a chuckle out of Jungkook. Weak, but real. Namjoon sat beside him, pulling something out of his bag. "What's that?" Jungkook asked. "Letters," Namjoon said. "From Army, from people at the company, from our staff. Even our hairstylist wrote you a 4-page letter with glitter stickers." Jungkook rolled his eyes, but there was a softness there now. "Do they believe me?" he asked. "They believe in you," Namjoon replied. "That's what matters." Jungkook looked down at his hands. They still trembled sometimes, not from illness, but from the aftershock of carrying too much for too long, of trusting too easily, of believing that some people were safe when they weren't. "Have you seen him?" he asked. Namjoon didn't have to ask who. "He's been outside the hospital every day," Namjoon said. "Sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for hours. He never asks to come in." Jungkook swallowed hard. "Why not?" "Because he's trying not to make it worse." Jungkook let his head fall back against the pillow. "I don't know what I want him to do." "You don't have to know yet." The door opened again. This time, it was Jin and Hobie. They brought food, kimchi pancakes, Jin said proudly. "Still hot. You think I'm going to eat hospital food when I have worldwide Jin star cuisine?" Hobie teased. Jungkook laughed for the first time in weeks. The 4 of them sat together, eating, talking, crying a little when it hurt too much. Taehyung joined an hour later, dropping his umbrella at the door without a word. He sat next to Jungkook without saying anything for the first few minutes. Then, without warning, he placed something on Jungkook's lap. It was a box, black, small. Jungkook opened it. Inside was a necklace, a simple silver chain with a pendant shaped like a cracked heart. Not broken, just cracked. "It's ugly," Jungkook joked. "Good," Taehyung said, "because so is healing." Jungkook looked up at him, eyes glassy. "Why are you still here?" Taehyung didn't hesitate. "Because you're my brother." The room went silent. Jungkook wiped his face roughly. "I hate crying." "You love crying," Hobie corrected. "No, I cry well," Jungkook said, sniffing. "There's a difference." They laughed again, until a loud bang echoed from down the hallway. The door flung open. A manager burst into the room, face red, voice sharp. "We have a problem." Everyone stood. "There's a press conference." Hybe just went live. "They're blaming Jimin." Silence. "What do you mean blaming him?" Namjoon asked, voice deadly calm. "They said he orchestrated the leak to sabotage the group, that he manipulated the documents, that Jungkook's collapse was a calculated PR stunt." "Are you out of your mind?" Taehyung barked. "It's not me, it's them, and it's happening right now." Jungkook stood up, IV still attached. "You're not cleared to..." The nurse tried to stop him, but he ignored her. "Give me my phone," Jungkook ordered. "Now." The others followed him as he moved toward the hallway. "Wait," Yoongi called, catching up. But Jungkook didn't stop. 10 minutes later, Jungkook's live stream went live. He was standing just outside the hospital, hoodie on, face bare, wind whipping through his hair. The storm behind him made him look like something out of a movie. His voice was raw, unfiltered. I'm going to make this simple, he began. The viewer count exploded. 20 million, then 30, climbing. The people responsible for my collapse aren't the ones you think. The comments went insane. I've made mistakes. I've let pressure build until I broke. I should have said something sooner. I should have asked for help louder. But the one person who tried, he's the one they're blaming now. He looked straight into the camera. Park Jimin is not the villain. He's not the traitor. He's not a saboteur. He is my friend, my family. And I will not let him be destroyed because the truth makes people uncomfortable. The silence from the viewers was deafening. Jungkook continued. HYBE tried to separate us. They tried to use fear and control, but they forgot who we are. They forgot what we mean to each other, and to you. He lowered his voice. If they try to punish him, they punish me. The stream ended, and chaos began. At HYBE's headquarters, executives scrambled to contain the fallout. The company's official stream was bombarded with dislikes, army comments demanding apologies, transparency, resignations. Lawyers were called. Damage control was initiated. But it was too late. The narrative had shifted. Back at the dorm, Jimin sat in the dark, alone. He hadn't watched the stream. He was too afraid, until his phone buzzed. One message. From Jungkook, come see me. Jimin stared at the screen, heart slamming in his chest. Then he stood. At the hospital, he entered slowly, nervous, unsure. Jungkook was sitting up in bed, pale but present. You came, Jungkook said. You called, Jimin replied. There was a long pause. I didn't watch the stream, Jimin whispered. Jungkook looked at him. I know. Another pause. I didn't deserve that, Jimin added. No, Jungkook said. But you deserve the truth, Jimin swallowed. Do we fix this? Jungkook looked down, then nodded slowly. We try. And in that room, no lights, no cameras, no stage, two broken boys sat together. Not whole, not healed, but trying. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. The air in the conference room was suffocating. HYBE's board members sat like statues behind a long table made of glass and arrogance, faces composed but eyes full of calculation. The walls were lined with awards, fake smiles in framed photos, and the weight of years of silence. But this time, BTS wasn't here to smile for cameras or sign promotional material. This time, they came with war in their voices. Namjoon stood at the front, arms behind his back. Taehyung sat to his left, elbows on the table, chin resting on clenched fists. Yoongi was on the far right, laptop open, receipts queued. Jin was pacing, visibly restraining himself from throwing a chair. Hobi sat quietly, expression unreadable. And Jimin stood beside Jungkook, alive, alert, and no longer afraid. The CEO cleared his throat. I believe this meeting could have been arranged more privately. Namjoon smiled with no warmth. Funny, that's what you said when you tried to bury the truth about the psychological abuse. Another executive leaned forward, smiling condescendingly. We have always acted in the best interest of BTS, including covering for your internal drama. Internal? Taehyung scoffed. You created the drama. Yoongi slammed a USB onto the table. Play this. The room went still. No one moved. Play it, Yoongi repeated, sharper this time. Unless you'd prefer the media gets it first. A technician reluctantly inserted the drive into the laptop at the head of the room. The screen blinked, then filled with a time-stamped video. Security footage. Audio. A boardroom meeting from 6 weeks ago. Jimin is the easiest to isolate, one executive said in the recording. He's emotional. He'll crumble if we imply his family is at risk. Laughter followed. Another voice. And Jungkook? If we can get him to sign first, the others will follow. Use the brotherhood narrative. Sell him loyalty, then control. More laughter. The recording ended. Silence. Hobi stood up. You think we didn't know you've been playing us for years? You think just because we smiled on stage, we weren't bleeding backstage? Jin snapped. You pushed Jungkook to collapse. You turned Jimin into a scapegoat. You made us believe he was the problem. Namjoon leaned forward, voice cold. You don't get to build your empire on our trauma anymore. The CEO sighed, feigning concern. We understand your anger. You understand nothing, Jungkook interrupted, voice shaking. I nearly died. I trusted you. I signed every document because I thought you were on our side. You were misinformed. No, Jungkook said. I was manipulated. Jimin stepped forward. His voice was quiet, but every word hit like a hammer. You thought because I cried easily, I wouldn't fight back. You thought that because I didn't speak up, I didn't know how to be dangerous. He looked each executive in the eye. You made the mistake of thinking silence is weakness. Another board member stood. Let's not escalate. We're already escalated, Taehyung snapped. Jungkook held up a folder. We're terminating our contracts. The room erupted. You'll never work in Korea again. You'll lose sponsorships. You'll lose everything. Namjoon didn't flinch. We've already lost enough. Yoongi closed his laptop. And you've already said enough. They turned to leave. The moment their backs faced the table, the room became a tornado of panic. Shouts, lawyers scrambling, PR teams dialing phones. But none of it mattered anymore. They walked out. Together, Jimin reached for Jungkook's hand as they exited the building. Jungkook didn't pull away. Outside, army had gathered. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Signs held high. Some weeping, some chanting, all waiting. When the group stepped out onto the steps, the crowd went silent. Then someone shouted, "We love you, Jimin." Then another, "Stay strong, Jungkook." The cheers grew louder, louder, until it became deafening. Jungkook looked over at Jimin. "You hear that?" "I do. They still believe in us." Jimin smiled for the first time in weeks. "Then maybe it's time we start believing in us again." That night, the dorm was quiet, but the tension had lifted. Jin cooked too much food. Hobi made jokes that didn't land. Yoongi played old tracks they never released. Namjoon reorganized the bookshelf again. Taehyung pulled out his film camera and started capturing random moments. Jimin staring out the window, Jungkook laughing softly, the cluttered coffee table. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Jimin stood on the balcony alone later, staring up at the night sky. Footsteps approached. "You good?" Taehyung asked. Jimin nodded. Getting there, Taehyung leaned beside him. "You're braver than you think," Jimin chuckled. "I'm just tired of being afraid." "Good." A pause. Then Taehyung added, "He still hurts, but he's healing. I don't expect him to forgive me." "Maybe not," Taehyung said, "but he'll remember who stood by him in the end." Jimin looked down at the street lights. "And if he doesn't, then we remind him," Taehyung said. Every day, inside, Jungkook scrolled through photos on his phone. Old memories, pre-debut, training days, the fights, the tears, the stages, the stupid late-night ramen runs. And Jimin always beside him, laughing, singing, protecting him even when he didn't ask for it. His thumb hovered over one video, one he hadn't watched since the night before the collapse. In the video, Jimin said something quietly to the camera, unaware it was still rolling. "If he breaks, I break." Jungkook paused, then pressed play again. This time, he listened all the way to the end, and finally he understood. The sound of Jungkook's laughter at 2:15 a.m. caught everyone off guard. They were halfway through watching a terrible, low-budget horror film that Jin insisted would lighten the mood. But the sight of the obviously fake monster tripping over a couch sent Jungkook into a fit of uncontrollable, breathless laughter. It wasn't polite. It wasn't restrained. It was the kind of laugh that cracked open something buried deep. The kind of laugh that made people pause. Jimin looked at him from across the room. Jungkook's head was tilted back, eyes closed, body shaking. For a second, Jimin didn't see the exhaustion, the IV bruises, the emotional weight. He saw the old Jungkook, the one who used to wake him up at 3 a.m. with new song drafts or terrible jokes. But the moment was short-lived. As the credits rolled, silence returned, thick and uncertain. Yoongi stood and stretched. "All right. That was traumatizing." Jin grinned. "Admit it, you loved it." "I've seen better acting in TikTok videos," Yoongi replied as he shuffled toward the kitchen. Namjoon looked at Jungkook. "You okay?" Jungkook nodded. "Better." "Good," Namjoon said, "because we have one more thing to talk about." Taehyung sat up. "Now?" Namjoon turned off the television. "Yes, now." Everyone turned to him. "It's time we go public, not just with statements, with everything." Jimin tensed. Jungkook blinked. "What do you mean everything?" Namjoon exhaled. "We expose Hybe. Completely. We release the full recordings, the documents, the timeline. No more half-truths, no more cryptic posts. Just the truth, raw." Yoongi frowned. "That could get ugly. Legal action, global headlines, sponsors pulling out." Namjoon nodded. "And we'll survive it." "Aye." Jin leaned forward. "We do it together." Jungkook looked uneasy. "What if it backfires?" Taehyung spoke gently. Then we burn, but at least we burn honest. All eyes turned to Jimin. He hadn't said a word. He was gripping the hem of his hoodie, knuckles white. If this goes wrong, Jimin said quietly, they won't just attack us. They'll twist my name again. I'll become the one who tore BTS apart. I'll become the cautionary tale. Jungkook didn't look away. Then let's rewrite the narrative. I can take it, Jimin whispered. But can you? Jungkook's answer was immediate. I'd rather stand next to the truth and get destroyed than keep pretending you were the problem. Silence. A heavy, breathless silence. Then Hobi said, okay, let's do it. They began working that night. Yoongi compiled timelines. Jin gathered receipts. Namjoon and Taehyung coordinated with lawyers. Hobi drafted the public release plan. Jimin and Jungkook wrote their personal letters, raw, unfiltered statements they promised would never be edited or watered down. By sunrise, they had everything. They uploaded it all to a private server. They scheduled the release for 6 p.m. That gave them 12 hours. 12 hours before the world either turned against them or stood beside them. At noon, Jimin received a call. Unknown number. He answered. I warned you once, the voice said. This will ruin you. Jimin froze. Who is this? Walk away now, or we'll release the other footage. His heart stopped. What footage? The voice clicked off. Taehyung noticed the shift in Jimin's face immediately. What's wrong? Jimin stared at his phone, pulse racing. They have something else. Who? I don't know, Jimin said. But they threatened me. Taehyung's eyes narrowed. What kind of footage? I don't know, Jimin repeated, more panicked now. But if it's taken out of context, they're bluffing, Taehyung snapped. But Jimin wasn't sure. He excused himself, walked to the rooftop. He needed air, needed space, needed time to think. The wind hit his face hard, but it still wasn't enough to clear the fear growing inside him. He dialed one number he hadn't touched in weeks. His father. It rang. Once. Twice. Then, Jimin? His voice cracked. Appa, what's wrong? If something comes out, if they say things about me, you think I'll care what the world says? Jimin was quiet. His father's voice softened. You've always tried to carry pain that wasn't yours. Stop apologizing for being the person who cares the most. I thought I was protecting them. You were, he said. And now they're protecting you. Jimin closed his eyes. Thank you. You call me the moment you need anything. Understand? I understand. He hung up, and finally he felt ready. At 5:57 p.m., the group sat in the dorm, countdown ticking. 3 minutes. The screen was open. One button. Publish. Jungkook looked at Jimin. You sure? Jimin smiled. No. Taehyung reached for his hand. Then let's be scared together. Jin counted down. 3, 2, 1. Yoongi hit publish. The world ignited. The full story. The betrayal. The corporate manipulation. The emotional toll. It was all there. Uncensored. Uncompromising. Honest. Hashtags exploded. Number truth with BTS. Number we stand with Jimin. Number justice for Jungkook. Celebrities posted in support. News outlets scrambled. Reporters rushed to the dorm. HYBE's stock price dipped within the hour. But none of that mattered. Because somewhere in that chaos, millions of fans saw something real. Not idols, not perfect men, but human beings. Flawed, fractured, brave. And in the quiet after the storm, Jimin sat beside Jungkook in the living room. The TV buzzed in the background. Interviews, headlines, reactions. But they weren't watching. Jimin rested his head on Jungkook's shoulder. You hate me a little less now? Jungkook smiled. I never hated you, he said. I just forgot how to love you right. Jimin exhaled. Then, finally, softly, let's try again. And this time, Jungkook didn't hesitate. He nodded. Let's try again. It was 2 days after the storm broke. The world was still reeling. News outlets couldn't stop spinning it. Talk shows dissected every frame of Jungkook's life, every sentence from Jimin's letter. Legal analysts debated HYBE's silence. Fans worldwide organized protests, petitions, and candlelight vigils. A global movement had ignited, not from a scandal, but from a confession. Yet inside the dorm, the atmosphere wasn't triumphant. It was heavy, not with shame anymore, but with the quiet ache of rebuilding. The kind of ache that follows emotional earthquakes. They were still standing, but parts of them were rubble. Jungkook hadn't left his room all morning. Not because he was physically weak anymore, but because a new kind of weight had settled on his chest. The kind that made you scared to face people who loved you. Scared they'd see how badly you were still hurting despite all the support. Jimin was in the kitchen, staring into a mug of tea he hadn't touched. He wasn't sure if he was supposed to knock on Jungkook's door or wait for Jungkook to come to him. Every day felt like walking a tightrope between hope and fear. Then Taehyung entered, rubbing his face, clearly having just woken up. "He's still in his room?" he asked. Jimin nodded. "Let him be," Taehyung said. "He's processing." Jimin hesitated. "Do you think I pushed too hard? Posting that letter? Going public like that?" Taehyung poured himself water. "You did what you had to do. What we all had to do. But I was the reason this began." "No," Taehyung said firmly. "They were the reason this began. Don't take their sin and wear it like it's your own." There was a knock on the door. Jin answered. It was the lawyer. "They want to meet." Namjoon approached. "Hybe?" The lawyer nodded. "The board. And not a Zoom call this time. They want to see you, all of you, face to face." Yoongi raised an eyebrow. "Why now?" "Because they're bleeding," the lawyer said. "You broke the dam. And now, they want to negotiate before the public pressure gets any worse." Hobie exhaled. "So what's the play?" "We go," Namjoon said without hesitation. And this time, they listened. Everyone started getting ready. Except Jungkook. Taehyung walked to his room and knocked once. "Hyung, I'm not sure I can." Jungkook's voice was soft behind the door. Taehyung didn't wait. He pushed the door open. Jungkook sat on the edge of his bed, hoodie draped over his shoulders, hair unbrushed, eyes distant. "You don't have to speak," Taehyung said. "You just have to be there." Jungkook looked up. "What if I freeze?" "Then freeze," Taehyung said. "We'll speak for you." Jungkook swallowed hard, then nodded. They went as a full group, 7 of them, for the first time since the collapse. When they walked into Hybe headquarters, security stepped back. Staff bowed nervously. Executives didn't make eye contact. The building that once felt like a second home now felt like an empire on the edge of collapse. In the boardroom, the same table waited. But the air was different. This time, Hybe looked nervous. "We'd like to begin with an apology," the chairman said slowly. Yoongi scoffed. "You had years." The chairman sighed. "What happened was unacceptable. We acknowledge the manipulation, the pressure, the emotional distress." Jungkook spoke. One word. "Why?" The room froze. Jungkook's voice was hoarse, quiet, but it cut sharper than any shout. "Why me?" The chairman blinked. "Because you're the most visible, the most beloved. If we controlled your signature, the rest would follow." "And Jimin? He was the easiest to isolate," another board member said. "He wore his guilt too openly. We thought he'd fold quietly." Jimin clenched his fists under the table. Jungkook stared at them. "Do you know what it's like to break in front of the world? To snap because you trusted someone who said they were protecting you?" No one answered. Taehyung leaned forward. "We're not here for apologies. We're here for consequences. We'd like to offer revised terms." "No," Namjoon cut in. "We're not negotiating." Yoongi added. "We're demanding full public accountability. A press conference, not a press release. You look into the cameras and admit what you did." "And then," Jin said, "you step down." The board erupted. "That's impossible. You're asking too much. You'll destroy this company." Jungkook stood. "You already did." The silence that followed was the loudest it had ever been. They walked out without waiting for agreement. The decision was made. If Hybe wanted redemption, they'd have to earn it. Back at the dorm, the atmosphere was electric. The live broadcast was scheduled. The company had agreed under public pressure and legal threat to address the nation. The night before the press conference, Jungkook sat alone on the roof. Jimin joined him. "Cold?" he asked. Jungkook shrugged. "Not really." Jimin sat beside him, quiet for a long time. "I'm proud of you," he said eventually. Jungkook glanced sideways. "I'm not sure I've done anything yet." "You showed up," Jimin replied. "That's everything." Jungkook exhaled. "You know, I watched that video again. The one you didn't know was recording." Jimin froze. "I heard what you said." Jimin closed his eyes. "I meant it. I know." They sat quietly as the city below blinked with life. "I'm still scared," Jungkook whispered. "So am I," Jimin replied. "But maybe we walk scared together." Jungkook looked at him. "I never wanted to stop loving you," he said. "I never stopped," Jimin said softly. The next day, Hybe went live. Cameras, journalists, the world watching. The chairman stepped up, and for the first time in the company's history, they told the truth. No spin, no defense, just admission. The fallout was instant. Shareholders rebelled. New management was installed. Artists demanded reviews of their contracts. The industry shook, but BTS didn't flinch. They were no longer just idols. They were warriors with wounds that proved they bled like everyone else. And that made them more powerful than ever. The press conference shook the entire entertainment industry. For the first time since their debut, BTS wasn't on stage to perform, smile, or reassure the world that everything was fine. They were standing behind the cameras, unseen but deeply present, watching the company that had shaped and nearly destroyed them confess to the world. When the chairman finally said the words, "We failed them, we abused our position, we manipulated their trust," the world froze. And then it erupted. The internet collapsed under the weight of shock, outrage, vindication, and heartbreak. Fans cried. Critics apologized. Reporters couldn't keep up with the unfolding chaos. But inside the dorm, the 7 members sat in silence, the weight of truth finally settling like a long-delayed exhale. They weren't free yet, but for the first time in months, they could breathe. That evening, the dorm living room was dim except for the glow of the TV replaying the conference. Jungkook sat hunched over on the sofa, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. JIMIN walked into the room quietly, blanket draped over his arms. "You'll catch a cold," JIMIN said softly. Jungkook looked up, startled from deep thought. JIMIN placed the blanket around his shoulders. But when Jungkook didn't pull away, something inside JIMIN loosened just slightly, but enough to breathe again. "You didn't eat," JIMIN added. "Taehyung made soup," Jungkook swallowed. "I'm not hungry. You say that every time." Their eyes met, and Jungkook looked away first. A small but meaningful change. He wasn't shutting JIMIN out anymore. He was just slow and wounded. Taehyung entered next, holding his camera. He paused when he saw the two of them. "I want a picture," Taehyung said abruptly. Jungkook frowned. "Now?" "Yes, now." "Why?" "Because today is the first day we're finally free." JIMIN nodded gently. "Take it." He didn't expect Taehyung to step closer, lift the camera, and say, "Lean closer." Jungkook stiffened. JIMIN hesitated. Taehyung's voice softened. "You two were broken the longest. Let me capture the moment you start healing." Slowly, painfully slowly, Jungkook leaned toward JIMIN, shoulders almost touching, their breathing sinking without them realizing. Taehyung clicked the shutter. The photo would later become iconic, not because of perfect lighting or aesthetic composition, but because it captured a bond bruised, trembling, but alive. Later that night, Namjoon called for a meeting. They gathered in the living room, all 7 sitting in a circle on the floor like trainees again. No hierarchy, no titles, just boys trying to find their way back to each other. Namjoon spoke first. "We need to decide what comes next." "New company?" Jin asked. "Independent?" Yoongi countered. "Total hiatus?" Hobi suggested. "Just us. No cameras, no schedules, just time." Taehyung nodded. "We need time. All of us." Everyone glanced at JIMIN and Jungkook. JIMIN spoke quietly. "I'm fine with whatever the group decides." But Jungkook shook his head, surprising everyone. "No, it can't be about the group right now." They all looked at him. "It has to start with us," Jungkook said. "All of us. As people, not idols." Namjoon's eyes softened. "Say it." Jungkook's voice trembled, but he didn't look away. "I don't want to perform again until we're healed. And I don't mean recovered. I mean healed. Individually and together." Yoongi leaned back. "Then we're on the same page." Hobi nodded. "A year, 2, whatever it takes." Jin smiled sadly. "We already gave the world a decade. Now we give each other time." Jimin's throat tightened. "What if the world forgets us?" Namjoon placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we start again. But this time, as whole people." Taehyung added, "And if they don't forget, it's because they loved our truth, not our silence." The decision was unanimous. They would disappear. Not in scandal, not in shame, but in healing. The next morning, the world woke up to a single message posted across all their social media accounts. "Thank you for standing with us. We are taking time to heal, rest, and rebuild together. We love you, always." There was no timeline, no empty promises, no dramatic exit, just honesty. And the world, instead of panicking, sent waves of support. Army across continents lit purple candles. Fans formed global letters that spelled "Rest Well BTS." Celebrities posted love. Rivals offered respect. Even former HYBE staff members came forward with messages of solidarity. But none of that compared to what happened privately. In the quiet of Jungkook's hospital room that afternoon, Jimin stood by the window, fiddling with the blinds. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He rehearsed 100 sentences in his head, but none sounded right. Jungkook sat on the bed, watching him. "Why are you nervous?" Jungkook asked softly. "Because," Jimin whispered, "I don't know how to fix us." Jungkook's gaze softened. "Then don't." Jimin turned. "Let's stop trying to fix anything," Jungkook said. "Let's just rebuild." "Rebuild?" Jimin echoed. "Yes, from scratch. No expectations, no guilt, no weight." Jimin swallowed hard. "Can I ask something? Anything? Do you still trust me?" Jungkook exhaled, slow and long. Then he patted the edge of the bed. "Come here." Jimin approached carefully, like approaching a wounded animal, afraid to break what was already fragile. He sat beside Jungkook but didn't touch him. Jungkook looked at him with eyes too honest to hide in. "I don't trust easily anymore," Jungkook said, "and I'm still hurt." Jimin nodded, swallowing tears. "But," Jungkook continued, "I want to try again with you.